There's an interesting halacha when it comes to Neiros Chanuka that we don't have by any other mitzvah. There's something called a birchos haroeh, that when someone's walking by and sees you lighting your Chanuka candles, they're able to make a bracha on that mitzvah and biyotze their mitzvah. Why, by Neiros Chanuka, do we have this mitzvah when by other mitzvahs like lulav and esrog and all other mitzvahs, I can't just walk by and see you shaking your lulav and also make the bracha and count and biyotze with the mitzvah? What's special by Neiros Chanuka? The Gemara in Shabbos on Chaf Aleph, where it speaks about the halachos of Neiros Chanuka, it says, Amar Rav Kahana Dorash Rav Nasan Bar Menyumai Mishmei Rav Tanchum. That Rav Nasan Bar Menyumai learns out in the name of Rav Tanchum that Ner Shel Chanuka, the light of the Chanuka candle, that's placed above Chaf Amma, is psula like a sukkah and a mavoi. It's puzzle. You're not allowed to do that. Even if it's the most mahadrin min mahadrin, lighting the most pure olive oil, no matter what, it's considered puzzle. Then the Gemara continues and says, V'amar Rav Kahana Darash Rav Nasan Bar Menyumai Mishmei Rav Tanchum. The same Tana comes along and says that in Parshas Vayeshev, when the brothers throw Yosef into the pit, it says, Habor reik ein bo mayim. Mayim ein bo, but aval nechashav ha'akravim yesh bo. That there was no water, but the double negative comes to include that there were snakes and scorpions in the pit. The pit, what's the connection between these two members of Rav Tanchum? Why are they placed next to each other, especially with the Vav HaChibor said by the same Tana? What is going on here? Why is there this connection? So I heard from one of my Rabbeim, Rav Eli Belazon, that this could answer our question of the Birchas HaRoeh. The brothers, if they would have looked into the pit and seen what was going on, they would have realized that Yosef was sitting in a pit filled with snakes and scorpions. And they were all over him, but yet they weren't biting him, they weren't bothering him, they weren't doing anything to him. Because he was so holy that his Kedusha was emanating out, and they weren't bothering him. A miracle happened. If the brothers would have looked down, then they would have realized, they would have had a hashpa on them, it would have had an effect on them, that they wouldn't have continued on with what they were doing. They would have just stopped and realized what was going on in front of them, that they would have stopped. The pit was bigger than 20 amos. It was larger than 20 amos, which is why there was no re'iyah, there was no seeing there. The next pasuk comes along and says, Vayisu einav, that they lifted their eyes. They were on to the next thing. They didn't focus on what was going on in front of them, rather they moved on to the next thing. Similarly, by Neiros Chanuka, when it's above 20 amos, it could be the most mahadrin min mahadrin lighting, but there's no re'iyah. And the Chanuka candles need a re'iyah. There needs to be something there where we're not just lighting and moving on. Vayisu einav, we're moving on to the next Chanuka party. We're moving on to the next meal, the next donut. We actually have to see and look at what's going on in front of us. Look at the Chanuka candles and let it have hashpa on us. Let it have an effect on us. When we do this, it changes who we are. The Chanuka candles, the lights, they change who we are. So much so that the Belzer Rebbe says, we say ve'ein lehem rishus lehishtamish b'hem. We don't have permission to use them, ella lerosam bilvad, except for to look at them. To look at them is not using the candles. I'm allowed to just walk and look, right? By other areas of halacha, looking at things is not in the world of hishtamshus. It's not in the world of usage. But rather we see by Chanuka candles that the ikr is the looking at them. The Ramah says, the Mishnah Berurah says that you're supposed to sit by the Chanuka candles and actually sit and look at them. Just sit and look. You're not supposed to use them for reading a book. Use that like for reading a book. Just sit and look at it. And that's the hishtamshus that we're permitted to do, that Chazal allowed us, because it changes who we are, has a hashpa on us, has an effect on us. And that's why there's allowed to make a birchas haroeh. Unlike any other mitzvah, by Neiros Chanuka, we have a birchas haroeh, where the person walking by, it changes the person, even if he's just walking by. But that is part and parcel of the mitzvah, of looking at them and having a hashpa on us. Mirza Hashem, we should all this coming Chanukah Look at the Chanuka candles and let it impact us. Not let this year go by where we just light and move on to the next Hanukkah candles. Sit, sing a song, share a story, a short idea, and let it change us. Let this year not be the same as last year.